don't think I have.
I think I was the first one.
I can go ahead and do it.
I think it's your turn, Stephen.
All right. Live just went active, so I think we're good.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank thee for the opportunity that we have to be able to attend BYU and be able to learn more about all the wonderful things that are in store for us. And we ask thee to bless us with thy spirit that we may be able to gain a greater insight into the hiring process and these lovely individuals that we read the case on. We pray for these things in the name of thy beloved Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for your prayer. Okay. So, let's see. First of all, let's kind of discuss what really went on in the case. Yeah. Let's kind of start. First of all, it's a hiring process. What happens? What is his name again? Look, I forgot. And I
think it's Peter.
Peter was a star analysis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Stephen is boss. Right?
This is gonna get confusing.
Totally. Shall we say SC?
No, I'll just do my best not to respond.
They're talking about you.
Okay. So now he has the job to go ahead and find someone. Yeah?
Right.
Okay. Now, somewhere in the questionnaire, it does ask, like, should Stephen have let Peter go? What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well,
I think
the
so.
way I feel about it is if he wants to go, you can try all you want to stop him, but he may work there another year or two, but then he's going to want to go again. You know, people make up their minds and you can try and persuade them, but ultimately they may not be happy and they're like, I need to move on.
Yeah, it didn't really give a reason why he was leaving.
Yeah.
He had an offer, a better offer from a company.
Better offer. Okay, I missed that part. Okay, so definitely I wouldn't have tried.
No, I wouldn't. He's loyal to money, and money seems to be his motivator. And this company culture is not money motivated.
Yeah, that's a good point. And they talked about how, just like you said, Becky, how he was motivated by that, and more was just taking on the jobs that gave him the most cash. So probably was a good thing that he left.
Okay. All right, that's going to be interesting because of with the candidates that he did interview. Yeah, we saw all these different personalities. Okay, so let's see. What was the pros and cons in grade debt? We're going to discuss of all the different candidates that he had.
Well,
I don't have the case in front of me, but I remember there was one guy who was quite interesting. He was very cocky, I would say. I think it was Gerald or something like that.
Yes, you're right. That was Gerald.
And for me, my first impression of this guy is I wouldn't even bother with him. He shows up 15 minutes late to the interview, doesn't even apologize, and then makes a comment how he fired one of his juniors in the middle of a meeting and laughs about it. And it's just like, this guy is a power-hungry guy who, you know, may be great, but he would destroy the team unity that's already there at this company because he would be looking out for the number one himself. Definitely. He wouldn't care who he has to step on or who he has to betray so he can keep that top rank.
Yeah, definitely. And go ahead, Brad.
No, I was just going to say that is interesting too, because when they first talked about it and you look at Gerald on paper, I was like, oh, this guy sounds awesome. Like he could bring some experience and it might be good leadership for the other lady who's still there to help her kind of become more of a leader. But yeah, the more you got to know him, you started to see his true colors. So that was an interesting turn, I felt like.
Yeah, even in his interview where he actually started to nitpick about the flaws of the company, the current company that he was working for. It was like, really, you know, you don't really have to bring those kinds of things into your interview. Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay. Anything else on Gerald?
I think Stephen did a good job covering it really well. Very simply, but you got it. Yep.
Okay. What about David Hughes? He was the older guy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. And I liked him, but I could tell that he lacked humility and teachability. He had the name, which is exactly what Stephen's higher ups are looking for, is the star, somebody with credibility. He was like #1 on the charts, whatever. But what did he say? Is David interviewing me or am I interviewing him?
Yeah, I remember that part. Right.
And I'm like,
question. Right. Yeah.
He's talking, he's confident, which he should be. He should be confident. He's been doing this for a very long time. He's very, very good at what he does, but he also has a reputation when you read the backstory that he's starting to slow down. He's still really good, but his focus is more on getting close to retirement. I want to spend time with my family, which is good,
Right.
but may not be the best candidate for this position.
And go ahead, Brad.
Sorry, no, I keep doing that. No, that was the biggest thing that stood out to me with him too. I think you're spot on with that, Becky. And I think with them, it's unfortunate because you don't want to look at someone's age and say, oh, that's not a good thing, but he's in a good position. So it's not like he needs the job. And I think that for the company, it probably isn't the best route to go that way because he could just up and leave again. They're going to be in the same spot they're already in.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, one thing I did like about him was that he likes to train, and I guess that's the reason why he feels comfortable enough to not be available. Is that he'll train his junior analysts, you know, and his team to make sure that they can run it without him, you know, kind of thing. But yeah, those are all good points. You know,
one thing that I thought of when it came to David, because he is a superstar. And for me, it's like, if I am that well known to be that good of a person, I'm going to want a high salary.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, he also wanted a contract.
Right.
So he wanted a contract saying, I want X amount of money no matter what the business does, whether the market crashes or we do bad that year, I'm still going to make X amount of money. For me, that in a market like that, it's just like, I don't want David because I'm have to guarantee that, okay, I have to hit X amount of dollars or I'm losing money on this guy. For me, it doesn't matter how big of a superstar you are, but if I'm going to be losing money on you, that's going to come back onto me.
Yeah, that's a big risk that they will be taking. Yeah. Good point. Very good point. I know when you look at the salary, when the information that they gave us in one of the pages, his salary was like at 1.5 million if he was to be working. I think that was the highest if he was to be working for RSH.
Okay. And thing too, Stephen, along what you said was, when you pull in a star analyst, in the second article that we were asked to read, it said that their performance plummets on average about 20%, and that pretty much stays there even up to 5 years later. So I know that Stephen's thinking is, we pulled this guy over and he's going to continue to be as phenomenal as he has been at this other company. However, with the second article, we learned that the company infrastructure, their culture, all of the support systems that they have in place are a big, like 70% part of why they are successful. When they jump ship to a new company, they lose all of that. They lose their support team, they lose their operations and mission statements and whatnot, and they've got to reevaluate and reestablish a relationship with everybody. And so 20% off the top is huge for somebody making that kind of money. And so bringing in a star is so counterproductive.
Good point. Yeah. I wish we had this discussion before we actually said in our papers on who we would hire.
How did you guys do on your papers, by the way? How did it Did you guys get your grades back already?
Yeah.
I haven't. Yeah, I agree.
Mine. I did. So I was just wondering how you guys did.
I did
I
all right.
didn't.
I haven't looked at why I got the grade I did, but I kind of rushed it, so I ended up getting a C on it. So
I did. Well, this is maybe a good time for us to, maybe at the end of this discussion, we can talk about what the professor likes and what the professor is looking for, because I found a couple of things that he hadn't mentioned.
Mhm.
And the initial that I got dinged on, I'm like, oh, okay, so that I did that this time and my grade went up. So maybe we can talk about what's working and what's not working with this class. And
Yeah, that'd be beneficial.
Okay, yeah, that definitely would do. Okay, do you, and so we want to go through the last two candidates, their
Absolutely.
pros and cons. So Sonia was the next one.
I really
And
liked her.
I liked her,
Mhm.
but I kept thinking, am I just biased because I'm a woman?
She's a woman and she's awesome.
But anyway, let's go for it. Okay. I guess her context, Stephen was really impressed. And when you look at the interview, their interview went pretty long.
And
Mhm.
it was really in depth, right? She asked
Yes.
a lot of really important questions about the culture of the company, if she could jump in and interview other people so that she could make sure that she felt like she was jumping into a situation that was going to be a win-win for everybody. I liked it.
Right.
I liked her.
Yeah, I really did I liked her interview, her questions, her concerns. Hey, Christian,
Here.
we
You're
are we're talking about the candidates, the pros and cons of the candidates, and right now
okay.
we're with Sonia. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So let's see. Although she hasn't worked for a large firm, yeah, she still has. Stephen was impressed with her global contact. I mean, she's and the ideas that she had was.
I like that she's also teachable, but she's also extraordinarily knowledgeable. And she specifically asked for the opportunity to be mentored, and as opposed to thinking she knew it all. Even though what we learn about her in her bio is that she actually knows her stuff really, really well, but she's quite obviously willing to be taught the culture, the operations of RISH. So that was impressive.
Yeah,
We're talking about Sonia, right?
Correct.
I mean, the only thing that I thought she was like a great candidate. The only issue being is that the company RSH was focused on teamwork, and she wanted to work from home, and I don't think that matches. Like, I think that just, in my opinion, that automatically got rid of her. But I don't know how you guys felt about that. I don't know, because that took the whole strength of the company and kind of, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, the need for her to be flexible, yeah, and I mean, I admire her for being able to do that and to work around that. But yeah, I don't know as far as the culture of RSH, if that would be something.
I also think, like after reading the second article, it talked a lot about how those successful firms were making it work for their stars. And one of the things, and it was surprising to me too, because Christian, I kind of had the same thought. If she wants to work from home and they have morning meetings, they need to be involved with their staff one-on-one and do a lot of person-to-person sort of work. But in the successful, back in, I think it's page 9 of this thing. Anyway, it talked about giving them opportunities to speak and to talk about how great they are, getting publicly recognized. But also, both of them talked about the work-life tension and allowing them to have home offices so that they could have balance in their life. And I can see how they would be a little hesitant as a mom of young children. But I think she's pretty clear that she knows how to balance her life in such a way that she can do both.
Right.
So it was interesting because I felt the same way initially, Christian, same as you. I'm like, oh, this is not going to work. She needs to be down at the office. And then after I read the second article, I'm like, well, actually, there's there's something about being more productive when you have a work-life balance. So
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Anything else anybody want to add for Sonia?
I don't know if you guys talked about it, but she also wasn't really up for traveling. That's also kind of an iffy.
Yeah. Yeah.
subject.
No.
I didn't dislike her. I just thought she was very risky
yeah,
as a hire, which I don't know. And it sounded like the business was really like expensive business. I don't know how much they want to risk. So I just wasn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
good point. Really good point. I thought that way too.
Okay. And then the last one, Seth, which he was referred to by another head hunter. Yeah, Anita. So let's see.
He was very inconsistent, like in the past. And he had I think he was the one, right, that had only been doing good right before he got into a new job, and then he kind of stopped improving.
Yeah, he was kind of like at this
Really
point.
risky.
He was ranked like 11. Wait, number 5. No, it was Gerald. Wait, no, Sonia was ranked 11. Sorry.
Yeah, Seth had been with a company for a very long time, and he had only just barely started producing and showing signs.
Right.
What I found on his bio that was really interesting was that he had been there for a really long time, and the compensation was commiserated or whatever, was connected to their performance. And so he was ticked off that he wasn't getting paid what he should, and that's why he was trying to make the jump.
Yeah.
Right.
So we know that there's something that's not honest in there. He's actually not performing as well as
he thinks he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point.
He's kind of one of those, I don't want to say it, how do I say it? He's willing to put everything on the line. I also noticed that he was divorced and he'd lost his wife and his 2 kids had moved out of state. And to me, that's everything. He doesn't have balance, and he will put in 20-hour days just to make it ahead, but he's not really gaining any advantage. He's actually counterproductive, which is hurtful. He's kind of a yes man, is what I'm trying to say.
I agree with you there. And one thing I noticed with him is he says he's not happy with the job he's at, and he's been there for 15 years. It doesn't really go into depth, but he seems like the type of guy who won't go to his boss and be like, okay, I'm having this type of issue, how can we fix this?
I agree.
Instead, he's going to jump overboard to this ship, and if we hire him, who says he's not going to do the same thing to us? It's going to be just
especially
like
with the company investing.
We're going bye-bye now.
Say that again, Christian?
Especially with RSH investing into their employees with training and like seminars and workshops.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of silly to invest into him and then him be inconsistent and then maybe leave when he wasn't paid as much as he wanted to get paid.
Yeah.
So.
Very good point.
I think they refer to him as like those kind of guys as a comet, right? So they have their up, but then they crash and burn and they never. But I see him at the burnout stage. He's pushing so hard, so fast, so much. He's not going to be around much longer because he doesn't have that work-life balance.
Good. Okay. All right.
Does
anyone want to? What? Does anyone want? Oh, well, you know what? Let's talk about Rena. Yeah, that was Peter's assistant.
Yeah.
Who got promoted?
Do you think that Stephen should give her the opportunity? They believe in training and.
I mean, she supposedly had very good skills, and they didn't really give her much of an opportunity, and she was by far the safest choice out of all of the other candidates, in my opinion. In my article, I talked about her and David. They were the only ones I even would really considered for promotion for the job. Personally, but I don't know. What did you guys choose? I was kind of like.
Okay. That was the next question I was going to get to. So who would we hire and why?
First, and then we'll talk about who we chose.
Okay.
So Rena's new. She's a little green. She only has 3 years in, right? However, because of her a little bit more shy, she's not as aggressive as the
Introvert.
that's the word. Thank you. So they think she may not have what it takes to be a star, but everything on paper looks like she's got everything she needs to be successful. She might just need a little more mentoring. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. I think they didn't feel that she was ready at this point to take his position.
Yeah, so his okay, so in my paper I said, because he does have a lot of pressure from above to hire outside, they may not allow him to look at Rena and allow her to grow within the company. So in my paper, I recommended that they utilize their training, mentoring to stay within the company and utilize Rena and make her the star, right? How do they say it in the paper? They say, build your stars, don't hire them from without or whatever.
I remember seeing something like that.
Yeah, the very last sentence in here was, if companies want to, they can develop stars. Indeed, the first step in winning the war for talent is not to hire stars, but to grow them. And I think she has all the components necessary to be a star. And I think it says something about the company, right? They didn't, if they choose to utilize Rena in that network and that market, the outside is saying, oh no, they didn't go freak out and go outside to pull in somebody. They already have such a phenomenal staff infrastructure that they just filled that position from within, which says that RSH already has what it needs. They're already hiring excellent people from the get-go. They don't need to go somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
So now, anybody want to add anything else in? Because now I'm really curious to see what we all decide. Okay. Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
So I chose Rena personally because of one is company loyalty. You know, you want to show that, hey, you know, you started at this company, you've been working at this company. Just because a position above us opens up, we're not going to go grab the next brightest star we can to fill the position. We're going to take a star we have and push them up and give their chance to shine. Because I remember in the paper, you know, the only real bad thing that was said about her is that, you know, she was a little aggressive when giving out the reports to people. And to me, that just takes a little bit of coaching because everybody presents a little different. And another comment that was made on her is she's extremely knowledgeable about the industry. And for me, knowledge of whatever you're going into is invaluable because you would have to spend more time trying to teach them and show them the ways of an industry than tell them, okay, show me a few presentations and I'll help you tweak them. So you don't seem like you're trying to overwhelm them with information. And it's a lot cheaper than everybody else because you just give her a little bit of raise versus bringing in a superstar and paying him a superstar wage.
Yeah, good points.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go next, or
Go for it, Christian.
I guess I can go next. I also chose Rena for mostly the same reasons, but also because I felt that all the other candidates had a risk to them, and I think that Rena had a lot of potential. And she just, like, you know, the company was all about teamwork, and it mentioned that she took advice from others, and that was one of their concerns, was that she took too much advice from people in the company and stuff. But I think in a company that works well with teamwork, she works well with everyone. She was very knowledgeable. I just didn't feel like she was risky, and I felt like she had potential, and I just felt like the other candidates, they all had something that were just like somewhat risky. And then on top of that, the things that have already been said about her, like that, you know, company loyalty, all that stuff. I just felt if I was personally, I would hire her. So, or at least give her the chance, right? No, they didn't. I felt like they didn't really give her a chance. and Stephen Cowder, or I don't really remember what his name was, but he kept, as throughout the project, he kept thinking back, should I just hire her? And then I was like, yeah, I think you should at least give her a chance. I don't know. But yeah, that was who I picked. So
I can go next. Yeah, I'm on the same page with you guys. I definitely felt the same way about Rena too. The only one that was a close second I felt like was Sonia, but there just wasn't really like any reason or anyone that stood out that was like, oh, we got to hire this person. It seemed like that was the dilemma the whole time was, well, there's not really a good market. People have moved around. There's not a lot of people available or that are going to be willing to switch jobs. And yeah, like Rena, she, the only knock on her was she just lacked some of the leadership skills, but everything else, some people said she was great. She had great knowledge of everything. She stepped up to fill in this position, you know, and help the company out. And I think for morale and overall keeping the company that's not in a bad position, you don't need to go make a huge change. Hiring within is going to help morale. Other people are going to see, hey, maybe I have a future here too. And it all around helps. And going off a lot what you guys already said, I think that she's, you know, a less expensive option. She's someone that can grow in the company to make a huge change.
Yeah.
Can I just add? I forgot to mention that one of the reasons why I picked Rena was because I can't. I just had a brain fart. It's something important too, but I forgot. Oh man. Okay, never mind.
Come back to you.
I knew I was gonna forget it too. That's why I tried to jump in real fast.
Okay, I'm gonna go next. I'm gonna let Becky go last.
Yeah,
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, my choice was actually Sonia. That was the beginning. I thought that she would be a good candidate for RSH. And then I read John's comment, John McMahon, who is Stephen's boss, and where he number one, he just wanted to get somebody in there that was going to replace Peter seamlessly. He wanted to make sure that the job got done, and he did not support Stephen when he did the training, the development and training program. He felt that was a waste of time and a waste of energy. So instead of Sonia was my second. It moved to David. So I chose David, number one, because he had high recommendations and he had ranked high in that number 2 article. And although he worked 15 years in that other firm, he was loyal. I mean, he stayed there for a long time. Of course, they would have had to pay him more money, like Becky said. You know, he wanted a straight contract. But I just felt that John would have been, my boss would have been more pleased with that. And so, and then he allows his junior assistants, and maybe this might have been good for Rena to be able to work under him and to get a better feel on a senior analysis position or the position that he was filling. That was my thoughts.
Awesome. Isn't it interesting?
Yeah. I'm glad we didn't all have the same opinion.
Well, and then I checked my grade and I got a C, so I don't know what I did. You know.
So before I forget again, another reason why I chose her was because she had a vested interest. She mentioned, it was very brief, but it mentioned how much the job meant to her in that very particular job, and she was really, really motivated to keep that position, and she was very bummed that they were looking for someone else because she was very interested in it. So that was another reason.
That's good. That's good.
Glad I remembered.
So how I outlined my paper was I went through each candidate, kind of going through pros and cons, and why Connor would either dismiss or encourage the idea of keeping them. And then in the end, my conclusion was that if he was forced by McNair to hire without, well, initially, okay, so before that, let me back up. my advice to Connor was to give quantitative data to his superiors as to why it's advantageous for him to hire within, to utilize Rena and develop her skill set because she's already aware of the culture. She's a low risk, like you mentioned, Christian. She has like 0 risk. She's got everything that they need to grow her to be a star. So then my concluding statements were that in the event that McNair forced him to hire without, even with all that substantive data proving that they needed to hire within, then my recommendation was to utilize Sonia because of her teachability, because of her desire to grow, because of her focus on globalization, which is vital to the success of this industry, at least. She's highly inquisitive. She's eager to learn. She's also eager to be mentored, even though she has an extraordinary knowledge and a handle on the industry. And as a result, she seemed to be more of an interdependent-minded person as opposed to an independent-minded person. And the other candidates were more of an independent-minded. It was all about them. They wanted the glory. They wanted to have the status and the prestige. My impression with Sonia was that she had more of an interdependent mindset, and it would assimilate into an interdependent culture, which is what RHS is. But my primary recommendation was to hire within. And I gave like more substantive, just tons of data about why it was advantageous for them to just hire within. Okay. So that's kind of what I did. I have gotten A's on my paper, but I think because I've done a lot of business writing, and that's the only reason, honestly, guys. But
well, then I guess
I don't think he grades us on the choice. I think he grades us on how we present it.
Yeah, the more information, the better.
I think so too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, and also I got dinged, if we're going that direction. I got dinged on not having enough references on my last paper. I only had 2 or 3, and so this time I had like 4.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have a lot this time. So, and then I got 100%. So I'm like, okay, so
nice.
That's good to know. Yeah.
He really wants lots of reference, and he wants lots of data. So when I went through this, I didn't quote as much from the paper as I did from the second paper with all that quantitative data. He likes data. So I was so grateful. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, maybe I finally figured it out.
It's always the hardest part with papers is trying to figure out what the professor's looking for.
I know, it's true.
I try to look at the rubric, yeah, and then I guess, yeah, I didn't give too much. I just gave my reasons and and what I chose. So I guess I could have added more stuff. Yeah.
Well, I can share my paper with you if you want, so that you can see what I did. Not that I'm an expert on this, but
you seem to get it.
It's hard. These papers take hours to write.
That's exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it took quite a minute.
But it's good. I mean, it makes you think, right? I mean, there's
yeah, no, it does. This class
I'm
definitely.
nervous now because of like power issues and stuff. He extended my deadline, so I haven't actually turned it in yet. I was going to turn it in today.
Oh, good for you.
Wow, lucky. Okay.
Good.
Now you got information. You better get cracking.
That's what I said. We should have had this before.
Well, if you guys want to, what are your guys' Monday schedule look like?
Freaking insane.
Oh, really?
I could meet at the same time, honestly, on Monday. I'm actually off on Monday. Monday's my day off. So.
Because if we do it Monday, that gives us all of Tuesday to write the paper after we've talked about it. So that's the only reason I'm asking.
That's a good idea. Becky, are you busy? That's a crazy day for you, Becky?
So okay, so let me just tell you the story. Go ahead, Christian.
No, sorry, my internet is like cutting out really bad. You guys keep doing your thing. I'll try to fix it.
But maybe you guys can give me some tips. Single mom, 3 kids, 16-year-old at home who's doing everything wrong possible. And I'm in school full time and have 2 part-time jobs.
Ooh.
So I just asked my hours to be cut, but we're like, okay, so we need to eat, but I need to get good grades. This week, I got my first F in my whole life because I forgot to turn something in Tuesday night, and it's closed after the deadline. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've never done this in my whole life. So I'm starting to feel the effects of not being balanced. And so my Monday, Tuesdays are really crazy because most of my classes have Tuesday night deadlines, including this one.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to find a balance. So if you guys have figured something out, please tell me.
We could always record it and post the video as well. Like whenever we do meet, that would help. I don't know.
That's a good point. You know, I think it helps when we all come together and just kind of share your thoughts, and then then you maybe when you write your paper, you'll have a little bit more information, and just instead of sitting and reading, this is a lot of stuff to read.
No, it took 6 hours just to digest and figure this out.
Thank you. Yeah.
I normally read it and then have my computer read it back to me to make sure I have it right.
Well, that's a good idea, actually.
That is. So what, do you dictate it to your computer?
No, so what I do is I copy all of it and I paste it into a Word document. And then when it's pasted in there, then you can hit, I believe it's read or something like that. And it'll read the document to you. You'll get some funky things when the page ends because it'll say case whatever 2, 4, depending on what page it is, but it'll read the case to you so you can listen to it versus just reading it as well.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good point for studying. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm gonna try that.
As far as Becky with that, just remember C's get degrees. So if you're just trying to graduate, you don't need to get straight A's. And
I say that every day, like 12 times a day, while I'm crying, going, "Oh my gosh, I can't do this."
But if you're assuming like you're looking for a better job after you get your degree, from what I've understood, is employers look at seeing like, well, what'd you do during that time? They're not looking necessarily, did you get straight A's? If you got straight B's or B's and C's and A's, then they're going to say, oh, you had life experience, you worked. All these other things are going to be in your benefit. So I wouldn't get too down about it. Just focus on passing the classes at least.
Yeah, that's great advice, Brad, because that's definitely how I have to look at it myself too. So it's so hard on yourself.
I'm not good at that. And I know what you're saying is right. I have a girlfriend who says the same thing to me every time. I'm like, why am I doing this? Why don't I just go get a job? I can make decent money right now, but I can't. But I'm not happy because I don't have the ability to go do what I love to do, which is being in management or being a regional director or whatever. And so I have to go back to doing admin work and making $60,000, $70,000 a year, where if I can just finish this stupid degree, not like
how more do you have, Becky?
A year.
So you're close. You're close. I mean, yeah, that's the same thing with me too. It's the reason why I went back to be able to get into management. Yeah, so
it's hard.
I'm in there.
We're not eating, and I'm like, I'm not getting paid anything, and I'm having to take out student loans, and I don't have debt. And I have way high expectations, and I just feel like I'm failing all the time. So anyway, this is
one thing I've found that helps in situations like that is to just talk to somebody about it. Just talk to a good friend about it, get it off your shoulders, and just talking about it helps me a lot.
Yeah, you guys are my good friend then.
Okay. Anytime we can do this. So did we want to meet on Monday, or should we just contact each other via email?
No, that's fine. Let's just shoot for Monday, and I'll just pray that Heavenly Father will help me to find a balance.
Or if we want to get a little ahead, we could try to do it on Saturday before. So
This Saturday, I'm sorry, I got this big project, B341.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, oh,
I'm not saying like this Saturday, but
okay.
going forward, if we prepare ourselves, we could talk about it Saturday. That gives us Sunday to relax, and then Monday, Tuesday to work on our paper. And even if we haven't read the whole case, if we've just read parts of it, or if we want to assign like, okay, you read the first 5 pages, and then Christian reads the next 3 pages, and then Brad reads the next 5 pages, something like that, and then we just come together, kind of talk about the case, piece it together, then that way we don't have to rush and read everything at once. We can talk about it beforehand and then go through and read it, and that will help refresh our memory of what we've talked about. So that's also an idea of what we could do as well, divide and conquer.
It's a good point. Should we think about it and
Let's think about it, and then next Thursday we'll get together, do our normal meeting, and then let's get our opinions of what we think we want to do that way. Because all this can do is help us if we have the time for it.
Yeah.
And if you're not able to make it to the meeting, we can just post it in the video chat or the email group of the video chat. And if the person who didn't make it can always go back and watch it
on Tuesday or whenever they're available.
Yeah, but don't we get dinged if we're not participating in this?
So this would just be kind of to talk about the case, not to do our normal discussion.
Yeah, this would be the extra.
In addition to, so we're going to keep it and then also do
another one.
But, or we could always just do it where we are ready by that Saturday. It's just something to think about. We can come together next Thursday and, kind of decide if this is something we want to do. Because honestly, if we're able to get ahead and have the next week's case read by Saturday and ready to talk about it by then, that would take a lot of weight off of our shoulders because we would know a lot about the case before we even start writing our papers.
Yeah,
it would just take that little extra oomph to make sure we're ready by next Saturday. So
let's think about it. I mean, but at the same time, the points that Becky that you gave that has helping you get the A's, we can try, to do those tips. I think it's just like for me, I have to spend a little bit more time in providing more detail, and instead of just stating my case. I'm an accountant. I just like straight to the point. That's it. You don't need no fluff around the edges.
That's the way I am too.
I'm not, I'm just, I'm really taking it out of my box.
For me, it's ABC, and that's all you need to know. You don't need to know X, Y, Z. ABC is what's important. You don't need to know, okay, he's struggling at home. No, he's not loyal to the company. We're not going to hire him. Okay, end of point.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, okay. So did we decide we're going to just go back on Thursday next week? Yeah, and then we'll come with a decision on what we want to do if we want to meet on Saturday for the following week's case. Is that because I'm doing the following week again?
No, you're you're so awesome. Oh gosh,
just trying to pull my weight.
Okay. So my thought is I can only do this once a week, so it's either Monday or Thursday. So we can make a decision now. If you want to just move this meeting up to Monday, then let's make that decision if it works for everybody. I'm not sure I have 2 hours literally because I am asking for less hours at work. I'm just not sure how we're going to eat. So,
we were talking about like an extra one, so it wouldn't be the other one on Monday wouldn't be mandatory. It would just be like.
Well, I think it sounds like she wants to move it to Monday, and then Thursday if we want to meet. We can meet on our own. Yeah, that's how we want to do it.
I'm just throwing out another option. We can move this meeting to Monday, and this will be our only meeting, and we come prepared on Monday that we have all read it, and then we can talk about our ideas, and that will help us formulate our letters for our case study reports for Tuesday. I don't know.
I'm good with that if everybody else is.
I'm good with that.
And we have
good with it? Brad, did you say you're good with it?
Well, wouldn't we have to have our reports done by before Monday the meeting?
No.
No.
Everything.
Just reading.
Just the reading.
Oh, okay.
So we
Just
just
read it. We'll come together, talk about it, and then you write your paper afterwards with all the knowledge we've gained from each other.
That's fine with me.
That is due on Tuesday. Yeah. Yeah.
I can.
Does 4 still work good for everybody, or do we want to scoot it back a little bit more? Or what's your guys' opinion?
I can do same time or later. It's up to you guys.
This time's
It's
good
fine
for
with
me.
me.
Yeah.
It's good. Okay. It's good for
All right.
me. So I change it to Monday. Okay.
All right, so we're all in favor for Monday at 4 next week for this following case.
Sure.
Okay.
We got
All right.
to get
Okay.
ready for one.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
So who's
Okay.
leading it next week?
Oh.
I can't remember.
I have it. Hold on.
Is it
Wait,
my
where are
turn
we?
next week?
Steven, you have it. It's you, Steven.
We're in November already.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Stephen, it's you.
Okay, good to know.
Christian, you're on the 15th, and then I'm the following week, which is the 18th.
Okay.
I mean, the
All right,
18th.
sounds good.
Sorry.
I'll make sure
Okay.
I have the invites out probably 5 after or 5 before 4, so
Okay, on Monday.
on Monday.
Okay, Stephen, can you help me save this onto,
Yeah.
Oh, I really appreciate it. I don't want to blow it. So do I
Yeah.
stop it?
Yeah, like I did.
Okay, wait.
Wait, before you kill it,
Okay.
were there any other questions or did we answer all the questions that you were discussing? We needed to discuss.
I have one question. How long were your guys' reports? Just like a page or two, or?
I've never gone over 2 pages.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. One.
One.
See?
First one.
You
A
see?
page and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
I tried to add a little fluff this time.
Okay.
Seriously.
Okay.
Because it has a maximum of 1,500, so I didn't know how close I wanted to get to that or not.
1,500 what?
If you go over 1,500, you get marked down.
1,500 words?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Okay. I didn't see that part, but that's good to know.
Yeah.
No, just a lot of useful data.
Because I'm at like 700 or 800 right now, and I just wasn't sure if I was supposed to go more or less or what.
My first one was just over a page. This one was closer to like a page and 3/4, and it was 1,100 words.
Okay.
So you guys double spacing yours or single spacing it?
Single.
I've been doing single because I don't want it to look like it's over what it's supposed to be. So.
Well, I have some classes that require it to be double spaced and others don't say, so
I know.
I just wasn't sure.
Yes, I have the same issue. I don't know if he marks down on that or not.
Oh, look at your baby.
Sorry. She's always coming into my office.
It's beautiful.
Say hi.
It's all right. It's happened to me before too, so.
My baby's 16, so you're fine.
No.
Oh, that's great. Good for you.
Okay. I think we've covered everything. Did anybody have any other comments or anything else they wanted to share about this case study?
It's just long.
Yeah, it was
Yes.
long. Do you think Stephen should have done? Use the head hunter? Was that like a right procedure for him to do? Okay.
I think it was a good procedure to make his boss happy, but
Right.
at the same time to come back and be like, yeah, these are all great people, but these are the issues I see. I still think we should go with Raina.
Yeah, and just like Becky had done. Yeah, it still gave her the right information to be able to, or data to be able to provide her reasons, right? And what I should have done too.
Same
Oh
here.
wait, what was the outcome, by the way, of that case?
I don't think this one said.
This one they didn't give it. They didn't, right? I didn't see one. I was looking
I didn't
for
see it either.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see it either. I was wondering if, man, I actually kind of got into this one. I actually kind of liked the whole thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, but well, I guess we'll never know.
No, we don't ever know. No, we never did find out.
Yep.
Yep, and I think that's good because it's kind of a real life situation, right?
Yeah, true.
And that faced with in management positions is okay. Now make a decision and substantiate your decision. So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, guys. Thank you for your participation, and we'll see you folks on Monday. And Stephen, what do I do now?
All right. So everybody could hang up, but if you want, you can call me on a separate video and I can help walk you through it if you want.
Okay, wait. So, okay. Bye, guys. See you
All right,
guys.
see you guys Monday.
Yes, don't delete it like I did.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. Do I stop the broadcast now?
So you can leave the broadcast running right now if you want,
Okay.
but go back to your YouTube events, where you click to create it.
Oh gosh, that means I have to get into the other page, right?
Yeah, so you can just go to Google and type in YouTube events like you did at first, and then click on that link and it'll take you to your page.
Oh my gosh. Quinny, can you come and get this little girl, please? Okay, so I'm on this YouTube where the events is. Okay, here, and it says.
Do you see where the event is that you created?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
So you click on that.
Click on it. Wait, she's not there. Click.
And you should see a video of what's going on kind of slightly delayed on there.
Click. Oh, hello. Yes, okay.
And then you can copy that URL at the top.
Oh, wait a minute. That's this one right here. So copy this.
And then that's what you paste into the discussion with our names as the title of who attended.
Okay, so I'm okay. The reason why I'm not stopping it is because you're helping me through this.
That's
correct?
fine. Yeah.
Okay. Wait, I'm not doing. I need to get to my class. Oh, shoot. Okay, here.
And if you let me know when you post it, I can check on mine to make sure I can the link works. But I'm 99% sure will work.
Okay, so the state case study activity. Okay, and then I'm gonna start a new thread, right? And then this is lesson 6 discussion.
So you're actually going to want to put the names of the people who attended.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yes.
You're good.
Okay. Oh, shoot.
Oh no, never mind. You tell me.
All right. And then I'm gonna paste it. Correct?
Yep.
All right. Now I'm going to. Oh, hello. Post it. That would help.
Correct.
Okay.
And this is week 6, right?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm just going to
Edit that.
Yeah. Now I'm opening up the link. And yep.
It's there?
Yes, it is. It works.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Now you can end broadcast if you want.
Okay.